The feeling of being pulled into the depths of water, the fear of not being able to breathe. Drowning dreams usually reflect an inner congestion, depression, or loss of control. Even when these dreams wake us up, that feeling of panic can linger on us. So what does a drowning dream whisper from our subconscious? How do different cultures and ancient teachings interpret the meanings behind this suffocating experience? Let's take a look at this in-depth analysis together. In Islamic dream interpretations, drowning is usually associated with being mired in sins, being overly fond of worldly goods, struggling with troubles, or straying from the right path. Drowning in the sea can usually symbolize being overly busy with worldly affairs, turning to illicit earnings, or falling into a major sin. While drowning in dirty water can indicate getting involved in bad deeds or acquiring illicit goods. Drowning in clean water can sometimes be interpreted as a divine warning or a purification process. Escaping drowning indicates that the person will repent for his sins, overcome difficulties, or find guidance. In Sufism, drowning is often associated with the soul drowning in worldly desires, stagnation in spiritual progress, or fear of drifting away from divine love. It indicates that the person is spiritually stuck due to excessive attachment to material things, a predominant sense of self, or a disruption in spiritual discipline. Water can sometimes also represent divine grace. In this case, drowning can mean not being able to withstand the intensity of divine grace or straying on the wrong path. It is possible for the believer to escape drowning by overcoming egoistic obstacles, turning to God by repenting, and becoming spiritually purified. In Indian philosophy, drowning is often associated with emotional or mental overload, loss of control, the weight of karmic debts, or resistance to the flow of life. Water represents emotions and the unconscious. Therefore, drowning can indicate that a person is having difficulty coping with repressed emotions, or that a situation in their life is overwhelming them. This dream emphasizes the person's need to find inner balance, get rid of emotional burdens, and surrender to the natural flow of life. Sometimes it can also indicate that the person is under the influence of traumas or fears from the past and needs to confront them. In ancient Egypt, water, and especially the Nile River, was the source of life and fertility. However, it could also be a symbol of chaos and destruction. Dreams of drowning were often associated with divine wrath, the disruption of Ma'at, justice and order, disaster, or the influence of evil forces. For the pharaohs, such a dream could be a warning that their power was in danger, that the fertility of the Nile would decrease, or that they would be attacked by an enemy. For the common people, it could be interpreted as a harbinger of an epidemic, poverty, or a personal disaster. This dream encouraged the person to make offerings to the gods, perform rituals to protect themselves from evil forces, and adapt to the flow of life. In Western dream interpretations, drowning is a common anxiety dream and is usually associated with emotional or mental overload, depression, loss of control, a feeling of helplessness, or the fear of not being able to cope with a real-life situation. Since water represents emotions, drowning can indicate that a person is overwhelmed by repressed emotions, experiencing deep sadness or depression. According to the Freudian perspective, drowning can sometimes symbolize repressed sexual desires or birth trauma. According to the Jungian approach, drowning can represent diving into the unconscious, being influenced by the collective unconscious, or difficulties in a spiritual transformation process. This dream emphasizes the person's need to seek help, needs emotional support, or needs to reevaluate a situation in their life. In Asian cultures, water often represents emotions, the unconscious, and the flow of life. In China, drowning is often associated with a major disaster, misfortune, emotional distress, or financial loss. In Japan, it can indicate that the person is struggling to cope with emotional burdens, is facing a crisis, or is facing an embarrassing situation. In Buddhist philosophy, drowning can represent drowning in worldly desires, illusions, samsara, and obstacles encountered on the path to enlightenment. This dream often emphasizes the person's inner stress, emotional imbalance, and search for balance in their life. It is a message to the person that they need to get rid of their emotional burdens, seek help, and find inner peace. Dear dream travelers, we have come to the end of our journey in this mysterious and deep world of dreams. As you can see, our dreams are not just a product of sleep, but also ancient messages whispered to us by our subconscious, our soul, and universal wisdom. Each dream can be a mirror we hold up to our inner world, a guide to face the challenges we face, or an invitation to discover our potential. Remember that these interpretations are wisdoms filtered from the accumulation of different cultures and beliefs, observed and interpreted for centuries. However, only God knows the most accurate and definitive interpretation. May your dreams guide you and help you find inner peace. See you on the next mysterious journey. Goodbye.